Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's video. We'll be showing you some sequencing techniques using the arpeggiator function of the Novation Launchkey Mini, and I think it's generation 3, because it's a very inexpensive MIDI controller, but the arpeggiator you can actually use in extremely useful and inspiring ways, and I like it a lot. And I want to share with you today how you can do this and get some surprise elements to your music, because there's actually one way of using it I particularly like, and it's not so obvious. I kind of stumbled upon it by accident. And yeah, I'm gonna demonstrate this to you with the Arturia Mini plugin, which sounds nice for this purpose. And one thing you should know is that it's not that gear specific. I mean, yes, it's now the arpeggiator engine of this specific MIDI controller, but I think as long as you have something to build arpeggiators with and sequences, you can definitely apply those things. And one last thing is that you should use some monophonic sound with your synthesizer, because like this you can benefit the most from the effects that are created by using the techniques I'm going to show you, but you'll see why actually while watching the video. And for now, let's just go to the equipment. So for demonstration purposes, I decided to make two channels, called them Sequence 1 and Sequence 2. And I used the Arturia Mini plugin. And these are the settings, just one oscillator, quite a lot of filter to just create together with some Valhalla, which I really like. Looks like this. Some nice ambient melodic soundscape that basically sounds like this. But we're not going to play it by ourselves. We're going to use the arpeggiator. So for this, I'm going to quickly explain what kind of settings are important for the launch key. So the most important button is actually the ARP button, because it activates the arpeggiator here. And what happens now is when I hold a key, it keeps repeating this key. But it's easier for what we're going to do if you turn latch on, which is here. So now you have to hold the ARP button and press the key for actually changing the setting that is displayed here on top of the keys. And in this case, it's latch. I want it to be on, so now I press one key and it keeps repeating the key. Great. So what else do we need? Actually, we need the Ableton sequencer so we can sync it with the click. So I activate the click and we'll just play it. Let's maybe pick another tempo than 120, maybe a little faster actually, but you can pick whatever. So this is our tempo now. Oh, you see it syncs it with the metronome. And if you again hold ARP, you can here change the rate. Now it's at 8 notes, no, actually quarter notes, and I want to have it at 16th notes. Do I really want to have 16th notes? Maybe 8 notes. Yeah, let's pick 8 notes. And I'm gonna turn the click back off for a second. What's also really important is the Deviate function. So if we again click ARP and go to Deviate, press this key, now we can control the rhythm. And this works the same. We click ARP and now we can use this Deviate knob. You see, there are various rhythms. And actually now I'm going to change from one note to a chord. I really like to use major 7 chords for this, so I'm just going to press some F major 7 chord. And play a bit with the Deviate until there's something I like. So now let's say I like this sequence. I'm just going to record it. And I press off so it doesn't receive further MIDI notes. Now the only thing is that I always hear it as if the sequence starts here, so I'm just going to change this. So it sounds like this. Oh, but it has to grow over time. So let's do it like this. Oh, sorry. Yeah, now it should work. Perfect. So now this is some nice gentle melody, but I want it to be more exciting and adventurous. So now I go back to auto, so it still receives the MIDI notes. And if I would play the whole thing again, you see, something's different, and that's because it still receives the MIDI information and now they are out of sync and you can actually play with it. So I'd like to go one octave higher, press the same chord again. And now they actually interact with each other because it receives the new information and still plays the basic information. And this is what comes out. Some kind of merge, and it sounds really interesting. And now you can, this would work already, just take some eighth notes, you can then play with the Deviate. Interesting things coming out. And what I can really recommend is changing the rate for the second row. So if I change to 16th notes now, gets kind of funky. Oh. You can also get some quite glitchy sounds out of it. Actually here it works really nicely. So now we can overdub by just clicking this little circle here. Oh, I forgot. And you could actually do this even once more, maybe go again one octave higher. And there's this kind of fight which note will be played, and makes it really active and interesting in terms of the sound. So why not recording this as well? Yeah, it's quite busy already, but it's just for demonstrating purposes, and you can also just go in here and delete single notes. Also, if you want to have the same clip but with a couple of variations. You get the picture. And yeah, it's a great way of finding new ideas and sounds for sequences. And to stop the whole thing, you actually need to press the ARP button, otherwise it's going to play forever. So another way of doing it, if you want to be more independent in terms of your sequences and don't want to have them fight all in one sequence, you can actually take a step back. In this case, let's see if I can go back to this state. Yeah, so then you start a second clip. Here it's what I have with the sequence 2. So I'm going to activate the ARP again and see what this actually adds to this first one. And I like it. You can also make it even broader by, again, pressing ARP, and here you can say how many octaves it should cover up. So right now it's at 1, so if I press 2, it goes even higher. But the rhythm is a bit static. And one button that is also helpful to vary things is the mutate button. So if you again press ARP and click on mutate for the ARP mode, you can use this knob and it will bring in some variations of the notes, and depending on how far you dial in this knob, that's actually how much of this you will apply. Gets really free jazzy here if you go to the far to the right side. But a tiny bit of it can already increase the tension and motion of the whole sequence. And of course, don't forget to record it. And one last trick to, see, it's again receiving the MIDI notes, is to, if you have two sequences independent from each other, you can actually make the sequence of one a tiny bit shorter. So let's see, this one has 1/4 note less, which means that every time it repeats itself, it will be in some different relation to the other sequence, so it remains interesting to the ears, while the overall vibe kind of is the same all the time. It's a great trick to actually keep excitement, but don't do it without some drastic changes in texture, just by sequences that keep overlapping with each other in various ways. Also something I find really inspiring. And this you can just develop further, having more sequences or having different variations of the sequences. Or actually what I now would do is, because I have this Vermona performer synthesizer, where I can send in 4 independent sequences, and then you can actually manipulate it in real time. So thanks a lot for still being with me and watching the video. I hope it could inspire you. As I actually mentioned, with my Vermona synth, I really like to apply those types of concepts because I can manipulate it in real time at some really analog hardware synth, and the knobs feel amazing. And for next week, I'm actually going to make a video of me performing some improvisation with sequences created by the Launchkey. And if you will watch this, and this week has already passed, so the video is available, I'll put the link here, so you can watch this right now as well. If you liked it, be warmly invited to subscribe to the channel. I'll post new videos on every Monday on music production topics. And I'm always really eager to hear your opinions or ways of using maybe similar concepts with similar types of gear or other types of gear that you can apply to my type of gear or your type of gear. So be really invited to share this in the comments, and I will reply to this for sure. And for now, I wish you, as always, inspiration with whatever you do, and hope to see you another time. Bye!